Your Comedy Minute. I'm Scotty T. I have a very funny young man named Steve Goldberg with me. Steve, nice to have you here.
Thank you, and I love your joke about me being young. It's
Hey,
cool.
buddy, what's Red Fox say? I'm not over the hill, but I got a clear view of the top. Something like that. So, Steve, you're in New Jersey, is that right?
That is true.
Were you born and raised in New
No, I
Jersey?
was born and raised in New York City.
Okay. So you've been in that area pretty much your whole life?
Pretty much, unfortunately, but pretty much, yeah.
Tough, tough town.
You know what? It is a very tough town. You learn to be tough. You learn to have street smarts. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I grew up, I'm in York, Pennsylvania,
Okay.
but I actually took over the Sam Goody store in King of Prussia.
Oh,
And when I
nice.
moved to Philadelphia, man, that was like a shoo wee. I couldn't believe the way people were in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And then
I
I started
love
spending
Sam
then I
Goody.
started spending time in New Jersey and all over and New York and shoo wee.
Yeah, you know where people are really scary? Washington, D.C., like parts
I
of Washington.
I did a bit about that. My office used to be just outside of DC.
You get lost in Washington, D.C., you're not coming back. Oh, there's just some bad parts of
You
Washington,
know,
D.C.
Steve, I used to go to Tower Records. I worked for BMG Distribution, and I would go to Tower Records down in Washington D.C., right on Pennsylvania Avenue. Just and it
Mhm.
seemed like every time I went there, I left and I left a certain way, a different way because the circles and the oh my god, I hated DC.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's get on to the. I'm sorry.
No, I love you're referencing Tower Records, Sam Goody. It brings back all these memories about buying concert tickets and all that. Matter of fact, right before I got on, I was looking at the summer concerts, and now you said I should go Sam Goody and buy tickets, but they don't have that anymore, you know?
No, no. I'm 61. I'll be 62 in August, and I've lived quite a life with the music business and now doing comedy. It's something else. But let's get
Yeah,
to comedy, Steve.
sure.
When did you start doing comedy?
I was writing for a while. I professionally I was a principal of a special ed school. They
Okay.
weren't special ed before they came to me. After they came to me, they were special ed.
Now
So I
that's
did.
just wrong. That's
It
just
is
wrong,
wrong.
Steve.
I did a lot of assemblies in this school and all that, but I started writing about 12 years ago.
Okay.
And full time comedy pretty much when the pandemic started, I decided that's it. I'm retiring. I want to do full time comedy. So,
Okay. Well, now I saw because I spent some time. I always, before someone comes on, I like to spend the time and try and get a little research, a little something.
uh
And
oh.
I saw you did a batch of Zoom on your Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
And the irony, if it is if that's the word I'm looking for, Tom Padovano, who's been on the show,
Mm-hmm.
Helene Witt, who's supposed to be coming on the show next week, Linda
Mm-hmm.
Marcus Smith. I was looking, I
Mm-hmm.
said, man, all these people are on the Zooms with you.
Yes, yes. I did a lot. I know them all. Comedy is it's interesting because it becomes a world into its own. You see the same people wherever you go, good or
Well, I
bad.
was going to say whether you want to or not.
Whether you want to or not. Yeah, you see the
Right.
same people, and that's the life, People going. I mean, I'm doing it less now. I won't travel 100 miles for a $25 gig or something like that.
Okay.
I decided to take better care of myself because I was going everywhere, and it was just like, why am I doing this?
Okay.
So
So you're slowing down a little bit.
Well, no, I'm being selective. I'm being selective. I'm doing shows I really want to do. I've done some charity shows. I actually went to Israel last month and I did some shows in Israel. So
I saw the video of your wife making the orange juice.
yes,
She looked
yes.
really happy doing it.
Oh yeah, real pleased, real pleased. Yes, yeah, my wife is the butt of my jokes.
Really?
Yeah,
Go ahead, do so. I met Rodney Dangerfield, so go ahead and do a couple.
about my wife.
Do anything.
Uh,
I don't care. It's your comedy minute. You can do anything you
sure,
want.
sure. I do come by. I'm at the age where I'm older, so I'm seeing a sex therapist. I'm seeing a sex
Right.
therapist. And he said, you gotta spice up your sex life. So we're having sex in public. We're having sex in public. My wife had the biggest orgasm at Kohl's, the department store. I didn't touch her. She scratched off 40% discount on one of those cards. And I actually found my wife's G spot after 28 years. I found it. It's in the Diamond District on 47th Street in Manhattan.
I tell you, it's rough. My wife. Keep
Yeah.
going. Go ahead, do
Um,
some more.
oh, sure. And the therapist told me to take Viagra.
Right.
I took it once. I took it once.
Right.
Not to have sex. I was at a party and I had nowhere to hang my coat. So,
I like the joke about I just take half a pill so I don't piss on my shoes or piss on my
right,
feet.
right.
Yeah.
That's a funny thing, Viagra, because it just shows you how desperate guys are for sex. Because it literally says on the bottle, um, if you lose your eyesight, contact your doctor. It's like real because like I guess if someone's taking Viagra and he's in the middle of having sex and loses his eyesight, he may not contact his doctor. So,
You know, it's funny. I don't know if you feel this way, but when you see these commercials, possible side effects may include diarrhea, this, that, but possible thoughts of suicide.
right.
Hell, I think you're better to stay with what you got.
Absolutely. And then you see these commercials. I mean, not to make fun for people who have cancer and they have these cancer drug commercials. I'm like, what's that for? If you go to your cancer doctor and you say, doctor, I saw this commercial, maybe I should try this drug. It's not time for a new drug. It's time for a new doctor. I mean, it's a ridiculous concept.
Well, I like the one where they're dancing. Have you seen that?
Yes,
I think it's
yes,
Jardians.
Guardians.
Where
Yes,
the I got type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well.
cracks me up.
Who in the hell you got to, if I went to my doctor's office and they start, I
Right,
got type 2 diabetes and I manage it well.
absolutely. Cracks me up. Very funny.
And they doubled down because they used to have a different commercial, and now this one there's more dancing and singing.
Yes, yes.
Oh my
No, it's
God.
these
Shit
drug
like that
commercials.
drives me crazy, Steve. I don't know about you, but it drives me crazy.
Yeah. Actually, I think drug commercials at one point were illegal, and they made it legal that you were allowed to, and then it just flooded the airwaves. These prescription drug commercials. It's crazy.
Well, especially if you're like us, you get up, watch the morning shows and stuff. I think they know, yeah, the old codgers are on. Let's get flood them with all the.
I know. And what's amazing is they'll have drugs for people with stage 4 cancer, and they show them hiking
Yeah,
and
yeah.
skiing. They're living a better life than I am with stage 4 cancer. I don't understand it.
Oh God, Steve, you're funny. Well,
Thank
let's
you.
talk. Let's get back to some of the comedy. So, you've been doing stand up for the pandemic doesn't count, but so what? How many
Yeah,
years?
I've been doing stand up on and off for about 9 years, but
Okay.
once the pandemic hit, I really decided that's really what I want to do. I want to, I do writing. I actually produced a pilot. You want to buy it? Um,
Tell the people about it if you don't mind, Steve.
it's called Life's Last Lessons, and the concept of the pilot is a bunch of people taking a class. It actually starts right when COVID hits, and it's about taking a comedy class and crap in life happening to you, and you have to write jokes about it. That's basically what it is. It really takes the we have a saying what laughter is the best medicine, and it really asks whether laughter is the best medicine. I mean, I think it is, but some people might not. So, so it really deals with that concept where basically any bad thing or any tragedy in life, humor can help you overcome. So.
Well, I've always held on to. Again, I've met and talked to a lot of different comedians over the years, and I always held on to. And I never met him, but Robin Williams used to say, "Laughter is the enema of the soul."
True. That's
I
an
don't know if you've ever
interesting
heard him
point,
say that. One of his comedy bits,
right? That's
and
an
I've always
interesting
held on
point.
to that because I feel strongly that Again, for people that don't know, you and I've never met.
Hmm.
This just came about because of a post on Facebook, and you know, were nice enough to come on the show.
Hmm.
But I got fired from my job for telling jokes,
Mm,
and I got to tell you, Steve, it's at the time, you know, I'd never been fired. I was always, you know, manager of the year. I was always, and so, you know, I was devastated. But
right,
looking back on it now, 4.5 years later, man, oh man, I couldn't be more grateful
right.
because I'm laughing,
Sure,
you
sure. I
know,
mean,
and laughing is great.
we are at a point where, and that's
Oh,
sort of, I mean, did you hear what Jerry Seinfeld said about whether it's called cancel culture and all that? I mean, it's
yeah, it
true.
ruined comedy.
Well, because he said how many new sitcoms are in the air, and I realized there aren't any.
There's hardly
I mean,
any.
there aren't any. There's CSI, Malibu, Texas, or whatever. There's
Yes, I
FBI Michigan, but no
yeah,
sitcoms because
Michigan.
people are afraid of sitcoms, and it's sad.
I
It's
guess
sad.
that's why I like what I'm doing because there's no. I should have told you this up front. You can say anything you want to
Right.
say. I
Okay.
don't care,
Right.
you know, and that's the way I want it to be. I don't care. I don't care how long I do this. It's the way it's going to be. I
Right.
want people to say what
Good
they
for
want to
you.
say.
And what's sad about it is, you're my age, growing up in the time where what brought people together? Sitcoms, All in the Family, The Jeffersons.
Oh, Jesus, let me tell you there, meathead. You come from a long line of bowling teams.
Right. Exactly.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but you are one dumb Pollock. Yeah, I grew up on Archie Bunker, man. Archie
Yes,
was my
Archie
hero.
Bunker.
All
I
those shows
actually,
back then.
it's interesting. I loved Mary Tyler Moore. I loved that
Yeah,
show. I just thought that show has the best line I ever heard on a sitcom.
go
In the
ahead.
first episode, when uh, Lou Grant says, "You got spunk," and she smiles, and he goes, "I hate spunk." It was, it was such a great setup line, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was just such
Well,
a
I think
wonderful
people
show.
have to know what spunk means.
Yeah, that's true. People don't have to know anything. They don't know much anymore.
No,
Yeah.
and you know what? I try to be honest with you, Steve. Since I started doing this, I can't even look at the news. I honestly can't. I mean, in other words, whether it's Trump or Biden or what's, you know, everything that's happening, you know, it seems like, you know, between Russia, Ukraine, everything going
Hmm.
on. If you want to kill any kind of humor, just turn on the news.
Absolutely.
I just
Absolutely.
can't do it. I mean, I try not to bury my head in the sand, but in the same sense, if you're trying to do comedy, that's the last thing you need is to put on
No,
the
I
news.
I get it. I actually swore off the news, cable news, December 30. I remember it well, December 31st, 2020. So it was my New Year's resolution. What and January 6th happened like 6 days later, and I
Right.
didn't know what the hell it happened.
Yeah.
And when you don't listen to the news, you hear like little stories. So apparently, the day January 6th happened, Kanye and Kim Kardashian broke up. I heard that, and then I heard what was going on in Washington, and I said, people are really so pissed that Kanye and Kim broke up. And I was,
Yeah.
yeah,
You know what? It's funny you say that because I'll never forget. I'm just get up in the morning. I have one bloodshot eye, drink my coffee, watch the morning shows. Then I don't turn the TV on again till, like I say, I don't want to watch the news. So I put the TV on and I see all this shit. They're climbing up on what the hell's going on?
right,
I had no idea. I
pretty
thought, my
crazy.
God, what is this?
Yeah, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And so much of the news is what someone tweeted, which I don't get either. It's like Jennifer Lopez tweeted that she doesn't like Tanya Smith. It's like, who cares? Who the hell cares?
I love
About,
when they call him out on shit. Jennifer Lopez released a line of alcohol, and when they asked her, she doesn't drink. Okay, okay, you're not the girl. My father used to say, "Never trust a skinny chef."
It's
I'm
true.
not trusting a woman making my tequila that doesn't drink.
That's right.
Well, let's go back for a second because I'm always curious about this. The first time you performed on stage, how was that?
Um, you know, you look back at the time, it was like, oh, I did great, I did great. Looking back, you know, yeah, you know, and I think that's the thing with comedy. I think there are so many, and that's sort of the frustrating thing about comedy. Um, because when you're a comic, I think you're also a critic of other comics. At least I am.
Oh, I don't like anybody.
Exactly, exactly, and I
I'm the
find that.
funniest guy, Steve. I'm funnier than you for shit's sake.
And I
I'm kidding.
find people just get on stage, they make jokes, the simplest jokes. I can almost call their punchline before they even get
Yeah,
to it.
yeah.
And they're just, and they think people should laugh at them. And it's just, I mean, and then there were comics and this is God's honest true story. I
Go
saw
ahead.
this comic recently, and I heard him make this joke that I thought was really funny. And I'll tell you the joke. It's
Go
not
ahead.
my joke.
Right.
But I'll tell you the punchline to this. A guy goes hunting, and he's trying to shoot a bear. So he takes a gun, shoots the bear, and misses. He looks down, goes down where the bear is supposed to be. The bear isn't there. The bear comes out and says, "You try to shoot me, I am gonna screw you right now." And the bear has sex with him. The guy comes back the next day with a bazooka. Now he's going to get the bear. And he gets the bazooka, shoots again, misses. The bear comes out. You know what I did to you yesterday? I'm going to do it again. Third time, the guy brings grenades, throws it down, misses. The bear comes out and says, "You're not here to hunt, are you?" So that was the joke. And I thought, oh, it's a cute joke. And the guy told it. And then I go home, watch a movie on Netflix, and the joke is in the goddamn movie.
Yeah,
The guy took the joke.
I was gonna say that. I knew that joke. I mean, yeah,
I had never heard that joke, and I
no,
said, "Oh, it's a cute
I
little
didn't want to
joke."
stop you. I didn't want to stop you because I knew it. I knew,
And
by the
I'm like,
second
"Why are
time.
you on stage telling a joke that you heard on TV that I?" And it was the most popular movie on Netflix that month, and I'm like, well, I guess that's what some people do. Some comics just don't even write their own material, which I'm shocked at. I am shocked that some comics don't write their own material, but apparently that's the case.
Well, I mean, Steve, you're looking at a guy that you meant you boy, you got a couple there that got me going. Number one, comedians that get up on stage and well, I'll tell you what, I went to the supermarket the other day and they're 5 minutes in before we even got anything towards humor.
Right,
It's not even because I grew up on Henny Youngman, Rodney Dangerfield, one-liner guys.
right.
We talked about on the Tonight Show would come out, the comedians would come out and they would burn. And so I I'm more upset. I don't want to say upset, but when you look at the TikTok, Instagram, they call themselves content creators or digital creators or content creators. And it's just their phone and they hold up and that to me is even worse than getting up and doing someone else's, doing some jokes from
No,
other
I
people.
agree. I agree.
I mean, there's one, Steve, that I tell you what, it makes my blood boil because these people are on YouTube and I think they have like 700,000 followers. Every one
Wow,
of their videos, does 100,000 or more. And all it
wow.
is, it's a woman, and in the background, they play a comedian's bit,
Right.
like a Seinfeld bit, and or a Bill Burr bit, and she sits there and laughs, and they rack up hundreds of thousands of views. They're getting paid, they're monetized. And I really wish every comedian out there would sue these people because it's like you have no talent whatsoever. All you're
Yeah.
doing is playing. They call them reaction videos, which are just, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, that whole world. I don't. My son is not a comedian. He's a sneaker influencer, and he does these sneaker videos. And I can't tell you, hundreds of thousands of people watch them, and I'm like, I don't get it, but it's a different world. It's a different world where
Well,
people
no, I think Steve, we're looking at, because the couple years I spent working at Lowe's, kids today are this. They don't. There's even classes now to teach your kid how to talk to people. They don't. They're in their phone, and I mean, because I did 105 live YouTube lives, and every week I would talk about different topics that would come up. And the 50% or more of the kids today, they want to be social media influencers. That's what they're,
absolutely
back in the day, it was, you wanted to be president or you wanted to be, a doctor or a lawyer. Over half, it's probably even higher now,
right.
you know, and it just, going back to what Seinfeld said, maybe comedy is dying. I just talked to
Well,
somebody.
certainly a different art. I mean, I go a lot of concerts, and when you're sitting at a concert, you can still interact with the person next to you. I mean, think about it. When you're at a comedy show, you really have to be totally quiet and listen.
Yeah,
And people. I don't think people have. I get do a lot of private gigs, and someone will say, "Oh, can you do an hour?" And I always say, "I can do an hour, but you don't want an hour." You don't want people to sit for an hour of. It's not. They're not going to be happy. I always tell people, a half hour, 40 minutes is pushing it, but
okay.
you just can't. I mean, people just don't have that attention span anymore to sit and listen.
Do you, and because you saying that made me, as to the question I have, have you changed your act quite a bit over the time you've been doing it? In other words, you just said, let's say 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Mhm.
Is there a lot of new stuff, or is it pretty much stuff that you tried and true that you're happy with?
I always change it. I always change it, and a few years into comedy, I realized there's a difference between someone who tells jokes and someone who's a comedian. Someone who tells jokes. Someone who's a comedian really develops a persona. You know,
Right.
I'm much more. People. Someone told me I'm a cross between Sam Kinison and Jackie Mason. So, I like to rant a lot. So I think it's what's changed is I've developed a persona, and I think I realized you gotta get to the punchlines really quick because people don't listen.
Yeah.
You gotta get
Hey,
laugh, 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 laugh.
you mentioned Jackie Mason, who I loved. Jackie Mason, he was really funny. Mike Parenti was on last week. I don't know if you saw Mike Parenti was on, and
Hmm.
he actually, I guess he worked or was promoting Jackie Mason. They said he lost his shirt
Hmm.
promoting Jackie Mason, but he had some great stories about Jackie Mason and the cards, and he would just write and write and write and write. But Jackie Mason was a funny guy.
Yes, he was. He
He
was.
did he did he mixed political. He did a lot of different stuff and was just great.
And his jokes were clearly his jokes, meaning
Yeah,
that when I write jokes, I try to really write my jokes. So yeah, someone could steal it, I guess, but it won't have that same personal connection. I think I really try to the jokes are about me and my
well,
life.
I don't want to put you on the spot. Do you want to do a couple for us real quick?
Sure,
Go
sure.
ahead, do a couple.
Um, all right, I'll do something. All right. So listen, no matter how old you are, it's not time to come out. Because I came out recently to, it didn't go well. It didn't go well, which is surprising because my cousin came out. He came out transgender. They were so nice to him. They bought him Liza Minnelli records. They took him to Broadway shows. I came out. I came out Orthodox Jewish, and everyone flipped out. Everyone flipped out. My kids are like, Dad, you're putting us back a generation. My wife of 28 years said to me, You want me to give up bacon and lobster for you? What are you, out of your goddamn mind? She said, I don't understand. Your tits are bigger than mine. Why didn't you come out a woman already? So,
That's great stuff.
thank you.
You got another one? We got time.
Sure. So I love being Jewish. I love being Jewish, but man, our holidays, they are nuts. They're nuts. Christians got the holiday of Christmas with Jesus, the birth
Right.
of Jesus. What do we got? We got the holiday of Hanukkah. The light was supposed to last one night. It lasted 8 nights. You call that a miracle? Keith Richards is still alive. That's a miracle. I found a wife to marry me and have my kids, and she's a doctor, no less. That's a miracle.
Right.
Very weird being married to a doctor during COVID. Very weird. Because everyone would say, Steve, ask your wife a question about COVID. And I'd say, honey, if I take vitamin, she says, I don't know. I said, but what about transmission? I don't know. But what about vitamin C? She says, I don't know. I'm a pediatrician. Leave me alone. I'm like, what good are you? The doctor doesn't know, but the barista at Starbucks has all the answers. But she told me one thing, people, this may save your life. I didn't know what type of mask to wear. Do I wear NK95 mask, KN95 mask, LBGTQ mask? She told me wear a Jets mask, JETS, because if you're wearing that, you're not catching a goddamn thing.
You know what's great is a buddy of mine's a Jets fan.
So am I, by the way.
Really?
Yes, I love the Jets, but
Here, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna hold on to something, okay, Steve? I want you to hold on to something, okay? Hold on to something. This is gonna, and I'm not making this up. When I was 12 years old, my sister took me to go see Johnny Unitas and Joe Namath play a football game at Memorial Stadium.
Uh-huh.
And I got to meet Joe. I got to meet Johnny Unitas later in Kenilworth, Maryland, outside of Baltimore. Didn't get to meet Joe Namath, but yeah, my buddies and Jets fan. He always walks around with the big L.
That's right.
How about this year for you? Not to get off comedy, but oh my God, you get Aaron Rodgers and you get what, 3 plays?
You couldn't even make that stuff. Everyone
No, you
says the
can't.
Jets need a quarterback. They need an exorcist, for God's sake. Terrible. Yeah, I couldn't even
Well,
believe it.
I got to tell you, I felt your pain for many, many years being an Eagles fan.
Uh,
And we finally got a Super Bowl. I said to myself, if I just get a Super Bowl before I die, and we got one. Thank
my
God.
son is an Eagles fan, and he grew up with a Jets fan, and then he told me he
Dad,
became
I
an Eagles
can't do
fan.
it.
I
I
said,
can't do it anymore. I just can't do it.
that's exactly what he said.
I
The goddamn
believe
Eagles.
it. I believe it.
I said, go for it, Aaron. I wish I could change. You don't know how every year I say, let me, you know, root for the Green Bay Packers. If it wasn't the Jets, I'd probably be a Green Bay Packer fan. But there's something
Really.
about,
You
at
know
least
what's
I'm
funny
free
is
during Thanksgiving and Christmas. I have nothing to watch, so I can do my shopping. So.
You know what's funny, Steve? My dad was a huge football fan. He used to always tell us that if I had met your mother, I'd be in the NFL. He had a scholarship to go to the University of Kentucky. He
Oh,
met my
really? Wow.
mom, and it made all of us kids feel so good. But I guess what I was thinking of is that being an Eagles fan all those years and being a Jets fan and stuff, people don't know. People don't know the suffering we've gone through.
Sure. No, absolutely. I mean, I always say I just want to watch a meaningful game in December. That's forget
Yeah.
the Super Bowl. My goal is just to watch a meaningful game in
Well,
December.
I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. And I'll tell you what, let's make a pact. If this, holiday season, the Jets are in there, I'm going to get on with you and we're going to converse a little bit.
You got it.
Man, I'm going to root for it. Well, look, we don't have a lot of time left. I want to make sure we cover everything. Anything that you want to tell the people? Are you on? Now, I know you have Facebook, obviously. Do you have an Instagram or
I have
TikTok?
an Instagram at Goldberg Comic,
Okay, I'll put
and
the I'll put the link in this interview.
I have an Instagram at Goldberg Comic, and I actually have the next show I have coming up is January 3rd at Ruddy
Jan-
and Dean's in Staten Island. So if anyone lives in
January
Staten Island,
3rd.
June 3rd. I'm sorry,
Just
June
say
3rd.
January. God
Oh,
damn
June
it.
3rd at a place called Steiny's. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Steiny's in Staten Island on Hyatt Street. So
Okay. Well, you know what time it is, don't you?
another joke. Okay.
No, no, no. Well, you can do another joke, but it's soon time. We're gonna run out of time. You got to give me your comedy minute.
I gotta give you. Okay, cool. Um, you know what, Scott? I have bad news for you. This may be the last time you see me
Oh, no.
because I have signed a big time movie deal. I have. Yes, I have. You know, superheroes are really big. They got the Black Panther, Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot. They
Yeah.
even have a Protestant superhero called the Wasp. I'm going to be the new Jewish superhero called the Jewish Kvetch. And my superpower is I make the villains feel so guilty that they surrender. Go ahead, Scott. Destroy the universe. See if I care. Just know you're breaking your mother's heart. Oh, look at you flying from planet to planet with those fancy schmancy flying machines, destroying all life forms. That you have time for? To visit your parents, you have no time? What the hell's wrong with you? Like every superhero, I have my kryptonite, my weakness. Oh my God, is that a clearance sale? It's coming out in the summer. Go see it.
It's gonna be a smash hit. I
Yes,
guarantee it. I
thank you.
guarantee it. That's great stuff, Steve. Man, that's fantastic. And you
Thank
know
you.
what? It's accurate too.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I had a girl on. She's Jewish and she does Jewish jokes, and that's something that's one thing I don't do any. I've never done. I just won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I won't do any kind of. Well, I don't do any political humor. I don't do
Right.
any racial humor. I love a good rape joke. I'm kidding, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
I do that all the time. I do. It's just a joke. I don't do any rape jokes, but it's just certain things just aren't. But it's okay for you, man. You can do them all you want.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, you know what I mean. That's such a
No, I
slippery.
know. No.
It's such a slippery slope these days.
Right. Well, you know what, and that's why it's. I think your jokes have to be. I mean, I think you could do any type of joke, and if it's personal. And
Yeah.
like I say, I try to keep all my jokes about me rather than about
Right.
Jews in general. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's great stuff.
thank
Well,
you.
Steve, I'll tell you what. Let me stop the recording. Hang out for a second because I want to talk to you off the record, if that's all right.
Ah,
Thank you so much for being here. I had a great time, and we're
thank you. Me too.
pinky swear right now. We're going to promise that come like December, whatever. I'm going to bet that we're going to be on because the Jets are going to make the playoffs this year.
I've heard that many a times.
I know, Steve. I know, but I believe in Aaron Rodgers. And
Okay.
not only do I believe in Aaron Rodgers, I love your head coach. I think your head coach is the guy to
I
get you.
hope. I
I
hope.
hope so. Okay, hang tight for a second.
Okay.
Thanks again for being here.
All right. Thanks.